Americans struggling to find gasoline after a cyber attack on the Colonial Pipeline.
And the shortages we're feeling right now affecting travel both on the air and on the ground.
And gas is down, but is it because people are panicking and hoarding it? Grady Trimble from our sister network, Fox Business, is live at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. Hey, Grady.
Good morning, Steve, Ainsley, and Brian. The biggest impact right now as far as the airlines go is American Airlines. They've added stops to 2 daily long-haul flights out of Charlotte that would normally be nonstop, but they now need to stop and get fuel. I talked to Delta and United. They tell me no impact at this time. The biggest fuel crunch right now is still at gas pumps as people continue to panic buy. Gas Buddy says nearly 3/4 of all stations in the Raleigh and Charlotte metro areas have no gas. Nearly 60% of stations in the Atlanta metro area are without gas. And the biggest problem right now, according to Gas Buddy, is there are not enough tank truck drivers to carry fuel to those stations. The pipeline outage is causing gas prices to skyrocket all along the East Coast, with prices up between 7 and 8 cents in many of those states, as governors from Florida all the way up to Virginia are calling states of emergency because of this fuel crunch that they're experiencing right now. And of course, you don't need to hear it from me, but the timing is terrible as we're just a few weeks away from Memorial Day and people are expected to hit the roads by the millions. Guys?
Well, hopefully the goal is, according to Colonial, to open up by the end of the week. So hopefully they can fix this problem before the holiday weekend.
Right.
Thank you so much, Grady.
They just need more drivers, we just heard him say.
That's right. Those gas shortages are forcing some governors to declare a state of emergency, while at least 17 states and D.C. remain under a regional emergency declaration.
Joining us right now with the impact in their states, we've got Tennessee Governor Bill Lee and Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson. Guys, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Governor Lee, let's start with you. You know, there in Tennessee, I know that this particular pipeline does pass through Tennessee, but Joe Biden pulled the plug on the Keystone Pipeline first day in office. Maybe we need more pipelines, not less.
Well, we certainly need to protect the infrastructure that we have in this country. And we need to utilize these pipelines. They are lifelines, and we see what happens when they're interrupted. So we need to continue to expand the use and expand our infrastructure, energy infrastructure. We now can see what we ought to be using infrastructure dollars on, and that's the protection of this infrastructure.
Governor Hutchinson, how have you guys been affected? What have you told your people? I mean, obviously every state, every American's been through a lot already.
Well, first of all, don't panic buy. We hope this is short-lived. We want more clarity from Colonial. Hopefully that can get started back in terms of the pipeline by this weekend. It's critical that they focus on that. But in terms of what we're doing here in Arkansas, we're trying to aid the regional supply network. The pipeline does not come through Arkansas, but we're trying to make sure we have the drivers, that we have the waivers so we can transport gasoline to where it needs to be in the marketplace. Governor Lee is absolutely right. We've got to do two things here. One, invest more in cybersecurity, but secondly, we have to have alternative supplies and alternative pipelines. Such a large percent of the fuel goes through this pipeline, the East Coast. We need to have alternative routes and invest in that type of infrastructure.
It's just unbelievable that they say this, New York Times reporting today, that there's a lack of overall cybersecurity sophistication. How does that happen? We have to find a way to protect these private companies because it means so much to the public.
You know, we've seen this.
Governor Lee, you want to take that?
Well, we've seen this before. We've had interruptions before. It feels a little bit like the 70s, in fact. You start to see gas lines. The music's better, was better back then than it is now. But we had this problem before. We should be investing in what we know has been a problem in the past and is going to be a problem in the future, and investing our infrastructure dollars into cybersecurity is critical importance.
He's right about the music back in the 70s.
Yeah, if you like the Bee Gees.
Governors, I know both of you were involved in writing this letter. There have been 20 governors that wrote a letter to Joe Biden, President Biden, and to our Vice President, Kamala Harris, to take immediate action on the border crisis. And y'all write that the crisis is too big to ignore, is now spilling over the border into other states and all of our states. It's a problem for all of America. It's not just Arizona and Texas and California. So, Governor Hutchinson, why did you want to be a part of this? Tell us how it's affecting your state.
Well, I served in Homeland Security. I had a responsibility for border security, and I know how tough it is. But it starts with having the right rhetoric, the right position, and I know we want to be compassionate, but the best compassionate response is to say we're going to secure the border, we're not going to allow the smugglers to bring them in, and have a tough policy there. And that's the rhetoric that is not coming forth out of this administration. The reason for the letter is to remind them that it impacts all of our states. We're not a border state, but it impacts us, and we have to get control of that border, and that's the purpose of that letter.
You know, Governor Lee, when Donald Trump was president, there was such an outcry from the political left about how they were managing our southern border. They're pretty much doing all the same stuff now, except it's now wide open. But where's the outcry?
Yeah, and when it is wide open, every one of our states is a border state. We have rolled back the initiatives that were beginning to really make progress in securing our border. We've stopped the security wall. We've stopped the we don't enforce existing federal immigration laws. And what happens? We have the largest movement, illegal movement across the border that we've seen in 20 years. In the month of March, 20,000 children. These are children, unaccompanied children, that are being distributed to states all across this country. It's incentivizing the human trafficking of children, and it has to stop. And the only way to stop it is to secure the border.
Well, what you got to do, too, is when they come, you have to send them back, put them in planes, and send them back where they came from. But Mayorkas, the secretary, says no. If a kid comes, he stays. Governor Hutchinson, is that a problem?
Well, it is a problem because that simply tells the parents in Central America, send your children here, and you see the result of that. It is a humanitarian crisis. Our heart aches whenever we see these children coming across unaccompanied.
Sure.
Now, 70% of them are 15 plus years of age, but it's those younger ones that just breaks your heart. And yes, we've got to be able to send them back. We have to have Mexico's cooperation, and we need to go back to some of the tougher Trump policies.
Hey, Governor Lee, before you go, wanted to ask you about something else. In Tennessee, I understand 250,000 jobs are available, and so you have announced an end to additional federal unemployment benefits. Why is that?
Well, you know, it's another misguided federal policy that excessive unemployment insurance payments, really paying people not to work, is really slowing down our economy. So we are, you know, this pandemic is no longer a crisis. We need to get back to normal. We need to get back to business. We need to move forward. In our state, our businesses are struggling to find workers. 250,000 jobs, as you say.
Yeah.
We need to resolve that, and part of the challenge is that we have too many on unemployment that are receiving too high of a benefit, so we're gonna stop that.
Gotcha. And you did that already, Governor Hutchinson.
Governors, thank you so much for being with us. Have a good day.
Thank you all.
You're welcome.
Thank you.